Okay, here's one of the biggest lies in history. Um, Democrat and Republican. Now, who have been the war hawks, the pro criminal, pro war on drugs, pro mandatory minimum incarceration sentences for the military industrial complex, for the prison industrial complex, the world police, all that kind of stuff. Now, and against citizens' rights, against individual rights, and for the government, right? Now, you had the starter of the Democrat Party, which was Andrew Jackson, who won the Supreme Court, won the Cherokee and the other four were known as the civilized tribes, the Chickasaw, Creek, I believe the Seminole were in there, but they won a court case versus the United States government that they could stay on their land. Andrew Jackson said, yeah, well, let's see you enforce it. You don't have an army. So he caused a Trail of Tears. Now, the Republican Party came around, started by Thaddeus Stevens. Abraham Lincoln was early Republican, so is Frederick Douglass, as an abolitionist party, anti-slavery party. The Democrats were the pro-slavery party, right? So you could say, well, the Republicans started off as the war hawks because they, fought the South when the South seceded, when the Southern states seceded. Pro-civil rights, that was Republican. Martin Luther King was a Republican. But in the 60s, there was this kind of flipping. But remember, who was it that got us into Vietnam? That was John F. Kennedy, Bay of Pigs incident, JFK, the escalation doctrine in Vietnam. That was LBJ, a Democrat. Who got us out of Vietnam? That was Nixon, right? Now, during the the Ku Klux Party, the Ku Klux Klan was the Democrats, obviously. Now, because of leftism and communism and all that kind of stuff, Che Guevara and all that kind of crap. J. Edgar Hoover, Democrat. Actually, McCarthy was a Democrat for most of his career. But this idea that we're against the man, but the government's good, right? The private citizen's bad, the government's good. This is the idea of nowadays. This is the liberal Democrat. Now, all the wars. I mean, you talk about George Bush. George Bush didn't declare war. It was Congress. Anytime a war happens, Congress has to declare war. And there was every single Democrat in Congress was pro-war, war hawk, for war. In both cases of Afghanistan and Iraq. And the weapons of mass destruction wasn't the main issue. I watched the thing. If it was just weapons of mass destruction, shit, we would have gone with war in North Korea, and it wasn't for oil. It was a bunch of other stuff, which we shouldn't have gone to war in Iraq. It was ridiculous. But with Obama, the fucking shit that he pulls, the massive amount, how many countries in Africa he invaded, helping overthrow all of North Africa in the Middle East, siding with the Muslim Brotherhood, right? The assassination of U.S. citizens. The news media has him backed up. except for Fox News, which is centrist. It's actually not that right wing. Now and again, now we have, after the Trail of Tears, these people in Oregon won their court case against the federal government, or at the Supreme Court level, won. Now, you can't, in the United States, you can't be tried twice for the same crime. Well, the government says, oh, but we can get around that if we just try you in a different court system for the same crime and we find you guilty. So they'll try to try you 5 different times. No, that's not the law. It says you can't be tried twice for the same crime. It's called double jeopardy. And the Supreme Court said, sided with the people. Well, the government said, no, fuck you off the land. Every time I've seen it represented on any of these things on YouTube or in the media, even Fox News, it's these gun-toting people who took over the land. And no, it's people who owned their own damn land, who the land was in their family for centuries under the Homestead Act. And they had leased part of this land from the federal government. The federal government said, all right, after we've wrongly imprisoned you twice for a period of 7 years, now you owe us $400,000, or else we're not only not going to lease you the land, we're taking all of your ancestral land. But you know what? We need more government. We need more, mandatory minimum sentences. The war on drugs, like that was all Reagan. Who headed up that parental advisory thing? The thing that the committee that put musicians on trial for music and was trying to ban free speech. Tipper Gore, Al Gore's wife. I'm not Republican nor Democrat, but how the hell can you be a Democrat in this day and age? All the SJWs, social justice warriors, they hate the Republicans. Every Republican I've met, not a politician, on the street Republican, has been a decent, honest human being and never had an agenda, just said, hey, I just want the government to leave me the fuck alone, and I just, they've never been angry or preachy or anything like that. And the very few people who can afford to, the idiots like Glenn Beck and the faux freedom lovers like Hannity and O'Reilly, who are full of them damn selves. O'Reilly's so spineless, he's not a Republican. I'm not a Republican either. The actual idea of republicanism I disagree with. But yeah, it's fucking crazy. There are so many people in the United States, because Republican is such a stigma, it used to be 50-50, that the Democrats now are like between, or 2/3 of the country will claim to be Democrat. But when the elections come down, it's 50-50. It's almost a 50-50 shot for president. It's won by the skin of the teeth. Because being a Republican is so fucking stigmatized. And even though I'm not a Republican, I wish I was so I could say it. Because it's the biggest fuck you to a lot of people. Hell, I might start calling myself a Republican just to... No, I'm not. But anybody who stands up and says that they're a Republican, I have respect for. I actually have respect for. Hell, when the Tea Party, which wasn't initially part of the Republican Party at all, when people were protesting Obama, they said all these fucking people came out, and I even heard Alison Hope Weiner, who I respect, says, oh, it's just racist. Criticizing Obama? Oh, you just don't like him because he's black. Well, what about all the fucking Arabs he murdered? What about all the shady shit that he did? Nope. You don't like him because he's black. Is he? I mean, he's what, he's half Hawaiian, a quarter white, or he's half white, a quarter Hawaiian, and a quarter black, or a quarter Kenyan, I mean. which means none of his family members were West African, which were part of the slaves, which is where the black American comes from. Fucking crazy. All right, peace to you.